Thank you very much. Yes, we know. Continue. So we'll be opening the phone lines this morning. If you do have a business that you run on social media, especially strongly on Twitter, let us know how it's affected you. 0909-217-2973. That's the studio phone line, and you can also reach us via WhatsApp on that line, and 015-150-973. You can also reach us on 015-151-973. Let us know how this Twitter ban has affected you and your business, and what you think about it. Personally, from a business standpoint, do you think that it might cause us to get creative and become, make our businesses better, or is it a huge loss to businesses? Let us know this morning. You can also send us a WhatsApp message. Once again, it's 0909-217-2973.
Mecca, are you coming on?
Good morning, Mecca.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Mecca, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir. I'm fine.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Twitter ban this morning. And I just read out a headline from the Guardian newspaper that says $12 billion e-commerce suffers as Twitter ban costs 7.5 billion naira in 3 days. What is your standpoint on this thing? Do you think that it's really going to affect us adversely, or will we get out of this stronger?
Well, for the record, it is definitely going to affect a lot of business activities in Nigeria. Right now, there are a lot of Nigerians who earn from these various social media handles. Yes. We've had a number of comedians who do video skits and the likes on Instagram, video, Facebook, Twitter, and the likes, where they earn a lot of money, which also form part of our even remittances because they've been paid in dollars at some point. So of course, it's going to affect a lot of incomes for people. Even the telecommunication sector also will suffer a huge loss because the fact that people will not be able to actively visit social media sites is going to reduce their data earnings also. So of course, it is going to affect us drastically. Our telecommunication sector accounts for about 10% of Nigerian GDP. So of course, and even when you look at the previous macroeconomic data, GDP shows that telecommunication sector recorded the slowest growth amongst every other sector. So it tells you that there's going to be a big dip, considering we're just coming from the main SIM ban, just lifted that. So of course, it's going to affect a whole lot of businesses.
But will it cause us to innovate? Will it cause us to innovate? Sometimes they say when you find challenges like this, you also see opportunity. Will it create an opportunity for other people to step up, do you think?
If there's anything about Nigerians, is our ability to be creative when things become very hard. But it doesn't take away the fact that it won't be easy because of late we've channeled every other aspect of our economy, most aspect of our economy towards the social media. It's not like we definitely will get out of it at some point, but it might not be as fast. And a lot of things would even get spoiled in the process because since we have a lot of youths who get their source of employment through the social media handles, and right now they'll be out of the job, man, that's like telling you that our unemployment status is going to surge in the coming quarter.
Yeah, I kind of have a personal experience with a very good friend of mine who runs a PR company. And half of the things that he does at his company is normally channeled through Twitter. And I don't think he's the only one who's going to suffer from this because, I mean, if you get a client, you're probably saying, okay, social media image and all of those kind of things, your presence online. This completely throws a spanner, in the wheels for them, especially those in the PR space. And I do believe that it's a ban that will be lifted because clearly we're not the only ones who are considering what this is doing to the economy. And I'm sure that the government is probably working, to think about the things that, they are doing.
All right, just getting a message. The guest is here. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back on Business Half Hour. Thank you so much, Mecca, for coming on. FM 97.3. We have in the studio, we have joining us via Zoom, Ifeoma Udoh. She's a Nigerian social entrepreneur and she's the founder of Shecluded, a fintech credit company for women in Africa. Good morning, Ifeoma. Can you unmute? Let's hear you, please. Hello.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Good morning. Good to have you on the show. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good morning, Ifeoma. But before we jump into Shecluded, we were just talking about the implications of the Twitter ban, on the economy and on businesses. Can you just quickly throw in your own point of view before we jump into it?
So I think for me being in tech, and a key indication for us is the message it sends to foreign investors.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to someone that said, I'm in the middle of a very big negotiation for the last 4 years. And the investor suddenly asked me about the Twitter ban. So yeah, I think that is a very key. I mean, in all that we have to deal with regulatory inconsistencies and stuff, is another thing that is there for Nigerian businesses to worry about. Then for me, as a citizen of Nigeria, it's also worrisome because of all the things that we're dealing with currently in Nigeria, in the order of action and priorities. I didn't think that Twitter ban was on that list. So it just makes me worried that, are these people actually looking at the list or are they prioritizing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about Shecluded.
So Shecluded was a company that I founded in 2019. I've always been in seed funding I was in seed funding for like 4 years. And when I was there, something struck me. I sat down in different panels. I looked at different deal sheets and I didn't see women. And for some reason, it made me realize that wait a minute, I always hear that MSME is female. And in Africa, they account for a large percentage of Africa accounts for the highest number of female entrepreneurs. And if they're not getting money, it means that they will still stay small. So I just decided to say, hi, I need to go and find out what's happening. And I set up Shecluded to say, hi, our primary goal is to make sure that female entrepreneurs who can do more have the resources to do more. Since we started, we've evolved into different things. Some women came and started asking us for savings. We started doing savings. And we're gradually evolving into a digital bank for women. Our goal at the end of the day is to be the #1 resource and financial services for women in Nigeria and Africa.
So all this is just about women now. You're focusing on the gender, the female gender.
Yes.
Hiring the female gender.
Providing services for the female gender.
Okay. Wealth-wise, but how has the response been, really? How has it been?
The response for me has been very insightful that when you start looking at services from a unique demographics, that's women, it makes all the differences. So I'm able to study the social characteristics of why women were initially left out from accessing financial services. From literacy to social, cultural bias, whatever it is, I've been able to identify. We've also been able to do literacy in the way that women understand. I mean, just by doing Shecluded, I found out that communicating, the way that we communicate financial services to women is very important. So if you come and meet a woman and say, hey, hi, take a loan, she might say, oh, I don't like loans and stuff. But if I meet her and say, hi, take laptops to improve your life, she understands it. So it's been very insightful. And during COVID, it was even more insightful for me because most of my clients, they came and said, oh, hi, we can't manage. We're struggling financially. And I'm like, do you have an emergency fund? And they said no. So during that session, that is where we started our wealth advisory because I realized that a lot of women were heavy on cash flow. But in terms of planning wealth, to say, what am I investing in? To say, how much am I saving? They were doing nothing about it. So during that period, we started our wealth advisory session. And it was very insightful to actually see that most women spend on lifestyle and they don't spend on assets. So we start correcting that. That's why you meet a woman that's been earning 400,000 for the last 3 years, and you meet her male counterpart. He tends to have assets. You know, he'll have a car, a house, or a land or something, because he's been brought up to think about that. Hey, somebody's going to come here to depend on me. Whereas you meet a woman, maybe she has long hair and stuff. So we just started doing basic education about how to handle wealth and how to build wealth.
There's some people who may call it discriminatory. How do you get around that? You know, to say if it's for women only, does it not, you know, tilt the balance in one direction only?
So the way that I see it, I'm always caught up in this sort of discussion, and the way that I see it is, let's step back for a little. Nigeria population as of today is mostly 50% men and 50% women.
Yeah.
From the history of women and from where they're coming from, you can agree with me that many of them have not been involved in active work. So as we are and as we've been operating with one leg, so that's like we have two legs.
Yeah.
You've one leg, the load has been on one leg.
Yes.
And we've seen the implication on the nation. What happens if we put a little more attention to dedicate so that the other leg can come up? So that's what it is for me. It's more of, when I thought about Shecluded, I thought about doing Shecluded, I was called to do Shecluded. It wasn't like I excluded men. It was, I wanted to focus on the demographics that I felt that financial institutions actually need more data to communicate to those people. I mean, for our size, if you look at us, we're the first company that did motherhood financing, where we financed breast pump and stuff for women. And it shocked me because these banks and different things have been running for years. We came, like different female initiatives that we've done, health insurance for women. I've seen that GTB has done it. Like, it's just provide a perspective that I felt was missing and was necessary for the time. It had nothing to do with excluding any gender and stuff. It was just focused for us to be able to get good raw data.
So in all of this, you talked about financing breast pumps. What are the other things you've done for women via Shecluded? Sorry, I beg your pardon.
Other things that we've done is identifying things that we've seen are developmental areas for women and be able to provide free trainings for them. So during COVID, I knew that a lot of women were at home, and we started doing courses like illustration, things that you can do at home, how to be an illustrator, how to sell it. We started doing stuff like digital skills. We trained over 1,000 plus women during COVID on things like design, things like basic tech skills. And it was during that process that we found that many women were doing their homework on their phones. And it struck me because I thought everybody had a laptop. I mean, I have a bad phone and a laptop, but I saw many people with very good phones without a laptop. And I said, hi, you don't have a laptop? And they said, yes. So we've also done things on confidence, personal development, so things that we've seen, self-development, self-promotion, things that women struggle about in terms of being able to integrate fully or being able to be perceived as subject matter experts in what they do. We've been able to do trainings around them just for free for many women entrepreneurs, and they've given us good feedback about them.
Do you have a particular focus, age group, say between ages A to ages B? This is where you're paying, say, 90 or 80% of your attention, or you're just doing it across board?
So when we started, we were doing it across board. In fact, when I started, I was naive. I wanted to save everybody. But after a while, I started realizing that, okay, I think that was, quickly we started evolving to define who our customer is. So for example, a set of demographics I was interested in when we started was stay-at-home mom. But after doing transactions with them for a while, I understood that not earning money means you could not control repayment. And I said, you know what, I need to exclude these people. I need to figure out how to reach them. then we started looking at income, people that earn lower than 100,000. And after a while, I started figuring out, think about it. If you earn less than X amount right now in Nigeria, you'll probably be struggling. And the next thing you need is not for your work. So gradually, we've been able to define our target markets. And it's something that we'll continue doing until we feel that our model for working is actually very, very up to date.
All right. Starting out Shecluded, how was it? Funding and all. How did it go? Were you working before? You said
yes, I was working in a seed funding company, and so for me, it wasn't more about funding. I mean, at the time, I was pregnant with my third child. And I felt like I was this superstar. With each child, I got slower. So it made me realize why, for the first time in my life, I've always felt when I look up during my career, I used to be at PwC, then I went into different tech companies. And it struck me that when I looked up, I didn't see a lot of women. And I didn't understand why. My first daughter, my second daughter, by the third daughter, when I was in that role, I realized why. I was struggling on all fronts. So when I wanted to go and start it, it wasn't like I was thinking I felt that this was what I needed to do.
Right.
I felt that there are more women. I mean, I was living in Lekki and I was working at Marina at the time. And I know that I was in the bathroom one day. I was talking to one lady that's been working in the company for 9 years. And she says, I have 4 kids. I live on the mainland. So I get up by 4 a.m., set up my kids, and I start taking a bus to the island. So I felt that it was my responsibility to do something about it. So I wasn't really thinking about funding. But my experience from seed funding, and given the fact that I had saved money to be able to start, was very useful for me. I mean, when I started with my personal funds. I got offers for funding, but I wanted to set the tone of the company, because one thing that they don't tell entrepreneurs is that investors change the tone of your company. For the first year, I wanted to have a tone. I wanted to see if this was what I wanted to do. Then by the second year, we got an investment of $100,000, and that's what we've been running with. We're currently raising. So by the end of this year, we'll have raised more money.
Interesting. Do you have success stories, and would you like to share one or two with us?
Yes, that's the motivation for me to do it. Because when I think about Shecluded, I felt like there's something I read about women entrepreneurs. I felt that I wanted to share, and that's the what and the how. The why is what keeps them going, even as an entrepreneur, whether male or female. I remember this girl that when we started, she used to work at a toll gate, LCC. I think they pay her 50 or 70K, and she's been on that role for like 4 years. And she's like, she lives after a job. She has to wake up very early. She has 4 kids. That she wakes up earlier, she goes home late. And she said she was selling makeups and stuff, so she said, okay, 100K, 150K. And one day she said, hi, I want to discuss something with you, that I think that the company that I retail, they don't have a distribution center in Nigeria, and I want to set up one. First of all, the strategic thoughts behind that blew me away, and the fact that she's been paying her loan very consistently. And we gave her that loan. I mean, we gave her 800,000. And she got that store, and today she earns over 450,000. She's still a client, and she's like, her life has changed. Like when I see her on social media, most of our success story on our page, Shecluded on our Instagram page. We have most of them there. But when I see her, I realized that one, at the time when we started this company, I didn't want to give women 50,000 or 100,000. I wanted to give them money to change their lives, because I felt that was what was needed. And seeing her and seeing what she's been able to do with herself, it's been very, very exciting for me. We also have Telma. I mean, she does this motion graphics with images and stuff. And she said, hi, I wanted to buy a Canon camera. And we gave her a Canon camera. Today she has a store in Oregu or stuff, just a big showroom. So it's one thing that this thing has taught me is the fact that I've learned, a lot from people and money. But I've also learned that capital and access to capital and strategic financing can actually change people's lives. So it's investing in people in the way that I thought it was just money, but it was changing their lives. And that was a plus for me.
So when it comes to defaulting or repaying loans, what would you say about women? Are we good at repaying our loans or? Hello?
Hi, I can hear you. So for me, I still feel that I still have early days.
Okay.
So let's keep that discussion. But I've always heard that men versus women. I don't have data to support it. And for me, for the women that we dealt with, 2020 sort of was like an outlier, because in 2020, a lot of them struggled and they're just coming out of it. So let's run for like 3 full years to be able to make it very good in France.
Talking about 2 to 3 years, what are your plans for the future?
So our plans for the future. So we have an app that we plan to launch towards the end of the year, Q3. I'm excited about it. It's beautiful. It's like nothing that anybody has ever seen in this space. It's basically 7 women financial services in the way that I've never seen it in Africa or in Nigeria and stuff. I mean, I've seen other stuff. I've seen it somewhere else. What else? We also are looking at, we have other strategic partners that are coming on board. And we got on the NASDAQ milestone program, which was very useful, the mentor and the coaching from high Silicon Valley investors and entrepreneurs. It's been able to shape us into what exactly do we want to do. So we are targeting, our goal ultimately is to change the life of more women. So we now begin to think about how do we target people, geo-target people in the north, people in the south, people in the east. What are the characteristics of the women around that area? And what can we do to even at the least increase literacy?
All right, so you're spreading your tentacles here.
Yes.
I read an article and talked about Nigerian women being trailblazers when it comes to being entrepreneurs. Can you actually sense that when you're dealing with women every day?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said, I read an article that said Nigerian women are trailblazers when it comes to entrepreneurship. You know, we were dogged, we were aggressive, we just want to make sure we succeed. So can you attest to that, dealing with women in your everyday business?
So dealing with women in my everyday business, I noticed that women stay to their strong point, which is working hard, which is a bad thing. If you want to go higher, why? So women are more operational and men tend to be more strategic. And this comes from our upbringing and the role that we play when we were growing up. So for women and the women that we deal with, I've been teaching women that just being operational will take you to a certain point and will keep you there. You need to become very strategic. Hard work used to work in those days when it was mechanization. This is a new era. This is an intellectual era. So you need to invest more and say, hi, how can I be more strategic? How can I operate more intellectual as a CEO? When your CEO is required to be very hardworking in terms of the kind of hard work that many women like to do has gone. And there's something I found out with entrepreneurship with women, most of them are driven by survival. And I keep telling them that being driven by survival, and what else I found is the fact that the circle of influence, whenever they think about influence, is just their family. So those two constraints actually limit you. When you want to think about yourself and your business as you have to contribute to nation building, you have to not just think about employing one staff. Can you see yourself employing 20 staffs? Can you think about, like, it's very imperative to know, like, it's very important at this time of history to communicate to women. If any woman that sets her mind to do something, does it and does it well. So we need to expand their mind to start thinking beyond entrepreneurship for survival and for family to start saying, can I do more? Can I employ more and stuff? And that's what I want to see in the next level of female entrepreneurship.
All right, time is not our friend here on Business Half Hour. We've in fact run out of time. But before we let you go, can you let us know what words of marble guide you every morning when you wake up? Your guiding lights, what quote guides?
So do it afraid. I mean, like there's this notion that, you know, successful people, smart people don't have fear, you know, they just have it all figured out and stuff. But every day I wake up, I know that my role for that day is to show up and do my best. So show up and do your best, and every other thing will fall in place.
Do it afraid.
Yes.
All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Ifeoma. Thank you for coming on. And we've been speaking with
Thank you
Ifeoma.
so much for having me.
Yeah, she's the founder of Shecluded, and she's actually catering to women, empowering them, strengthening them, you know, financially, because we all need it, not just for the men.
All right, remember Business Half Hour comes your way every Monday at 8 o'clock and runs all the way to 8:30 here on TCMS, the classic morning show on Classic FM 97.3 station. Plays every song you know.